This fact remains the same. There have been more mass shootings in the U.S. in 2022 than days in a calendar year, 424. That's according to the Gun Violence Archive, an online database which considers a mass shooting an incident when at least 4 people are shot, not including the gunman. And while public mass killings tend to capture the most attention, new data shows they only tell part of the story when it comes to trends in violence in America. In a startling new analysis just released by the Associated Press, USA Today, and Northeastern University, data shows nearly 3,000 people have lost their lives in mass killings over the past 16 years. National correspondent Mara Siriani has a closer look at the findings and more context. She joins us live in studio now. Hey, Mara.
Yeah, Jay, good evening. It was a lot to break down. So according to this report, the number of mass killings in 22 is in line with previous years. And while the majority of cases that garner, again, that national attention occur in schools, churches, or maybe public places where strangers are targeted, the data shows victims in these cases are more likely to have been killed by someone they know. Heartbroken parents turned anti-gun violence activists.
My main priority is to honor my daughter's name. That's not going to change. And to be an advocate for change.
An all too familiar story unfolding over the past several decades in America. But findings of a recent study published by the Associated Press, USA Today, and researchers at Northeastern University show high-profile mass killings like the massacre in Uvalde, Texas, make up only a small fraction of mass killings in the U.S. A mass killing is defined as an incident in which 4 or more people, excluding the offender, were killed. The report finding mass killings in which family members are targeted are actually twice as common as incidents where strangers are targeted in public spaces.
If you're in a violent relationship where you're noticing possession, over jealousy, violence of any sort, a conversation with someone who knows violence and how it can escalate, and the safety planning piece is pretty critical.
Data from the report shows nearly 3,000 people have lost their lives in 504 mass killing incidents since 2006, including deaths by all weapons and means. In addition to how these mass killings happen, most were done using semi-automatic handguns. The report also highlighted who was committing these deadly acts, finding that most mass killers are men. Meanwhile, the victims are nearly equal between men and women.
It's become clear that the two parties in Washington have very different solutions of putting an end to the violent crime wave across the nation.
And as lawmakers invest millions to prevent gun deaths specifically, the report also noting the violence is not confined to big cities. Last month, residents in Cincinnati's West End held a Stop the Violence block party for families who have suffered some of the most heartache in the city.
We're out here allowing the kids to have fun, letting them know that every day don't have to be a day where you have to duck, you have to hide, you have to be scared.
One of the many examples of communities across the U.S. coming together to put an end to the violence. And now mass shootings tend to motivate people to want to do something about gun laws and change them. Well, James Allen Fox, he is a Northeastern professor who actually helped compile the data for that study. He said most of the laws being proposed will have limited effects on mass shootings themselves, adding, however, they are important in light of the thousands of gun homicides that occur each year. Again, Jay, this is really heavy stuff, but I think it's super important information to have out there and to be aware of.
Yeah, definitely. This new analysis coming out, of course, after the Democrats and Republicans came together to pass that bipartisan gun legislation as well. Good reporting there. Thanks, Mara.